Councilmember Kelly Jedovich. Here. Councilmember Obaji.
Here.
Councilmember Barron.
Here.
Mayor Light.
Here. Do we have any blue folder items for the closed session?
None for closed session.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, now it's time for public communications on closed session items and non-agenda items. There's nobody in the audience. Is there anyone online?
No one on Zoom, and there are no e-comments.
Okay. Let's see, could you read off what we will be discussing?
Yes, is authorized by the government code is listed on the published agenda. The following items will be discussed in closed session. Items F1 through F4 are under the title Conference with Real Property Negotiator. For item F1, the property is 111 West Torrance Boulevard, Suite 100, a portion of APN 7505-002-908. For F2, the properties are 123 International Boardwalk, a portion of APN 7505-002-908, portion of the Redondo Beach Marina parking lot, a portion of APN 7503-029-900, and Fisherman's Wharf Pad 2, a portion of APN 7505-002-934. For F3, the properties are Basin 1, 208 Yacht Club Way, a portion of APN 7503-003-900. Mondstadt Pier, 1110 through 151 Fisherman's Wharf, a portion of APN 7505-002-934. Pier Plaza, 103 through 131 West Torrance Boulevard, a portion of APN 7505-002-908. Kincaid's and Pad 2, 500 Fisherman's Wharf, a portion of APN 7505-002-933. And Fisherman's Wharf, 200 through 240 Fisherman's Wharf, a portion of APN 7505-002-934. And for F4, the property is 160 International Boardwalk, a portion of APN 7503-029-902. Items F5 through F13 are under the title Conference with Legal Counsel Existing Litigation. For F5, the name of the case is City of Redondo Beach et al. Versus California State Water Resources Control Board, case number 20-STCP03193. For F6, the name of the case is in regards to 9300 Wilshire LLC, bankruptcy, CDCal case number 223-BK-10918-ER. For F7, the name of the case is 9300 Wilshire LLC versus City of Redondo Beach, City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, City of Redondo Beach Department of Community Development, and those 1 through 100 inclusive, case number 23-STCP02189. For F8, the name of the case is in regards to 9300 Wilshire LLC, 9300 Wilshire LLC et al. Versus AES Redondo Beach LLC, bankruptcy, CDCal case number 223-AP-01163-ER. For F9, the name of the case is Yes in My Backyard, a California nonprofit corporation, Sandra Charles, an individual, versus City of Redondo Beach, City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, City of Redondo Beach Department of Community Development, and those 1 through 25 inclusive, case number 23-TRCP00325. For F10, the name of the case is New Community TLA LLC versus City of Redondo Beach, City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, and those 1 through 100 inclusive, case number 23-STCB10146. For F11, the name of the case is New Community TLA LLC and Leonid Postonikov versus City of Redondo Beach and City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, case number 22-TRCP00203. For F12, the name of the case is New Community TLA LLC versus City of Redondo Beach, City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, City of Redondo Beach Department of Community Development et al., case number 23-STCP00426. And for item F13, the name of the case is AES Southland Development LLC and AES Redondo Beach LLC versus California Coastal Commission, case number BS 157789. Thank you.
Thank you. You always amaze me how quickly you go through all that.
I've memorized them by now.
City Manager Witsansky, he'll be speaking to each of these items.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Myself for all items, City Attorney Joy Ford for all items, and then for F1 through F4, we will be joined by Greg Kapovich, our Waterfront and Economic Development Director. For item F1, we will also have Brian Campbell, our outside leasing agent. And then for items F2 and F3, we will have Larry Cosmont, one of our real estate advisors. Oh, and then it sounds like Assistant City Attorney Cheryl Park will be on, I'm guessing, Zoom for all items as well.
Okay. Thank you. I will take a motion to recess to closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All for?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We will be back on or about 6 o'clock to report out and start the open city council session. We'll see you then. closed session back to open session. Could I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Waller?
Present.
Councilmember Castle?
Here.
Councilmember Kalujetowicz? Here. Councilmember Obaji?
Here.
Councilmember Barron is currently absent. Mayor Light?
Here. Okay, City Manager Witsansky, any announcements from closed session?
Yes, couple of announcements. Will Solholt joined us, our outside real estate advisory with Cosmont, in addition to Larry, joined us for items F2 and F3. Also, from our Waterfront and Economic Development Department, Catherine Buck joined us for items F1 through F4. And then lastly, we are going to recess back to closed session at the end of the open session meeting to discuss items R5 through R13.
Okay, and note that Councilmember Barron has joined us. Could I get a motion to adjourn to the regular meeting?
I move that we adjourn to the regular meeting. Second.
Okay, motion a second, all for it?
Aye.
Okay, I'm calling to order the open session regular meeting of the City Council. Could I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Waller?
Present.
Councilmember Castle?
Here.
Councilmember Kalujetowicz? Here. Councilmember Obaji?
Here.
Councilmember Barron?
Here.
Mayor Light?
Here. Okay, because we're going back into closed session, we're having a streamlined up front session here. So if you could rise for the salute to the flag and then remain standing for a moment of silent invocation. I'll lead. Hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could remain standing for a moment for silent invocation. Okay, thank you. You may take your seats. Okay, there's no presentations or proclamations tonight, so we'll head into announcements and I'll hit it off. I did attend a mayor's convening with our county supervisor, Holly Mitchell, so I had some good conversations with the other mayors who are under Supervisor Mitchell. A lot of discussions on the outlook on funding at the state level, a little bit on the federal level. None of it was pretty, but we're all trudging forward. Also went to this Women's Club, had a spaghetti dinner for the firefighters this past weekend. That was very nice. That was fun to attend. Councilmember Waller was there as well. So appreciate them putting that on there. They formed 16 years after Redondo formed, and they've been serving the community since then. And they're maintaining one of the oldest structures in Redondo, so hats off to them. And then it was a full evening. I went to an opening, a soft opening for a new pizza restaurant on Catalina near Pearl, Lozio's. I highly recommend it if you want a good pizza. Very unique and with an Italian chef straight from Italy. This upcoming, I have a meeting with several folks from Ben Allen's office on Wednesday to discuss housing mandates and other topics. And then Thursday, we're going to, myself and Andy Wingy will be attending a hearing, an appeal hearing on Dominguez Park Playground, trying to get that opened up faster. And that's in Baldwin Park, so that'll be fun Thursday morning. That's it for me. Councilmember Waller?
Let's see. Last weekend on Saturday, it was a busy day as well. I had my first community meeting. It was a good, successful meeting at Alta Vista Community Center. My next one is still TBD. I will let people know, but I did record it on YouTube. You can go to my website, bradwaller.com. I've got a post that links to that. After that, I went by Fire Station Number 1 for the events that they were having there. It looked like they were very popular. A lot of kids running around, putting out mock fires. And then went to the Women's Club for spaghetti dinner later that night. Also want to remind everybody that the Redondo Beach Educational Foundation Gala is this Friday evening at Kincaid's. Go to rbef.org and you can get your tickets still.
Okay, Councilmember Castle.
I just wanted to let everyone know that on the 29th of this month, in a couple of weeks, I'll have my second community meeting, but it will be a joint community meeting with District 3, Councilmember Kuladevich, and we'll be discussing issues that are important to Districts 2 and 3. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Hey, Councilmember Kalujetowicz.
Yeah, I'm excited for our combined meeting. Thank you for extending the invitation. And while it is District 2 and 3, of course, all meetings are open to the entire city. And then I just want to thank you, Mayor, for leading the way on on opening Dominguez Park officially. I know that's been a heavy lift, so thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Obaji.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a meeting with Circuit. There are these little electric shuttles that travel within a city if the city subsidizes them and the like. And so I'm discussing with the city manager and at the COG with our Manhattan Beach and Hermosa Beach whether there'd be an interest in having these. It takes significant transit dollar subsidization, but to get our youth, especially since they'd asked for it, to get our youth around and others just within the three-city area of Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, and Redondo Beach. Also, anybody announce about the youth commissions? Youth commission, did you?
Not today, go ahead.
All right, so there's openings on the youth commission. Please go to, you can email recweb, RECWEB @redondo.org if you'd like to join the youth commission. And we take our cues as to what the youth want and how to direct policy to achieve those goals from the youth commission. So please do that. And lastly, I'll say thank you, Acting Chief Mendes, for a resident had emailed complaining about or concerned about a notice she received from an alarm company or alarm connection company because they're using the Redondo letterhead, but he confirmed that in fact it was indeed an agent of the police department. And that's the second time I get that. So I wonder if we can notify residents somehow that that company is reaching out to them on our behalf and it's not a scam. And I forget the name of the company, but in any event, thank you for that response.
Thanks for bringing up the youth commission. I forgot about that. Councilmember Barrett.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to announce or perhaps re-announce we're going to have the District 5 community meeting Wednesday, May 28th, 6 p.m. at the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center. Special guest, as you know, is our City Attorney Joy Ford, who will be speaking to her priorities for the city, as well as taking questions, providing answers. So I think it'll be a great event. And as usual, we'll have refreshments and it will be open to all districts. I did also just want to mention quickly that the North Redondo Beach Business Association is having an event actually tomorrow. It's a lunch event. It's going to be a lunch and learn at Michael's Cafe right here in District 4 on Artesia Boulevard. It's going to be a terrific event. You could get more information about that. 11:30 to 1:30. And I guess the headline is Make Insurance Great Again. That's one of the topics, and there'll be much more. So I recommend everybody consider going to that tomorrow, May 14th, 11:30 to 1:30 at Michael's Cafe.
Okay, thank you.
Quick comment.
Councilmember Obaji.
Crywolf is the name of the company that's doing verification of connection of alarm systems to the police department. So if you get a notice from Crywolf, know that it is authentic and you do need to address it.
Okay, and I didn't call it out, but I assume none of you have AB 1, 2, 3, 4 reporting required today?
Negative.
Okay. With that, we'll jump down to item E. Could I get a motion to approve the order of agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all for it?
Aye.
Okay. We have no agency recesses. Do we have any blue folder items for open session?
Yes, Mayor, we have two tonight for item H8 regarding the city's 4th of July fireworks display. We have a signed proposed agreement from Curtin Maritime with certificate of insurance, and for item J1, non-agenda items, public communications. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Could I get a motion to receive and file?
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Okay, all for it?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, jumping down to consent calendar. Does anyone wish to pull something from the consent calendar? Councilmember Waller?
No.
Councilmember Castle?
No.
Councilmember Kalajerovich?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Obaji?
No.
Councilmember Barrett?
No.
Wow, that's blazing through it.
Moving right along.
Okay, could I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Does anyone from the public wish to address any item that is on the consent calendar? That's items H1 through H9. Are there any written requests? No written requests?
And let's see, no hands raised on Zoom and no e-comments.
Okay, last call. Anybody from the public? Okay, let's see, all four, approving all the consent calendar items?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously.
And then I have one reso to read.
Yes,
Mayor.
ma'am.
Item H6, adopt by title only, resolution number CC-2505-029, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, California, declaring its intention to order an assessment for the maintenance and improvements of certain street lighting fixtures, appurtenances, and landscaped areas for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2025, and ending June 30th, 2026, and setting a time and place for the public protest hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there's no excluded consent calendar items, so we're going to item J, which is public participation on non-agenda items. This section is intended to provide members of the public the opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on this agenda for action. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the mayor and council, and each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. We'll take written requests first. So with that, let's see, Sandy Buchan and then Jim Mueller.
Well, good afternoon or good evening, Mayor and council members. I am here representing the Friends of the Library. I wanted to let you all know that we are having our main fundraiser on Saturday, and it will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I'm inviting everyone here to join us and everyone in the community. We will have books going from like 50 cents to like $3, $5, CDs and DVDs. So I'd like to see all of you there. The money will be used to fund the summer reading program for children, for teens, and for adults. So thank you for your time.
Sure. And
Where will that be?
It'll be at the main library.
Thank you.
and that's this Saturday,
Yes,
May
this Saturday.
17th.
Yes.
Okay, right here.
Right here, yeah. So it'll be in the children's room and it'll be in the lobby. And there'll be, most of the board members will be there to greet you, and it should be a fun event.
Okay.
And hopefully lots of donations.
Hopefully.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
and thanks for doing that. Okay, Jim Mueller, and then Mickey Johnson.
Good evening, council. It's always a privilege to be able to address you in a public forum. On the city website, I saw that there's a lot of financial detail. So I was excited because I wanted to do some analysis. Then I discovered the first problem. The actuals there don't go past fiscal year 2019 to 2020. Where are 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25 year to date? The annual financial comprehensive report, which is also supposed to be on the website, has only fiscal year 2023. Where is fiscal year 2024? The ACAP will be coming up for a vote. Financial information as part of that plan seems kind of sparse, and it may be way out of date since the ACAP was adopted 4.5 years ago. For example, the redevelopment of the Galleria was supposed to contribute $1 million to the ACAP costs. How's that shaping up? An update and more detail will be needed before the public votes on the ACAP. Looks like a lot of work needs to be done on the city's financial transparency. My friends on the Budget and Finance Commission had questions that weren't answered at their recent meeting, and they could have asked a lot more. I asked the council to direct the Finance Department to update the financial data on the website ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mickey Johnson, and then the last card I have is Desiree Galassi.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am Mickey Johnson, and I'm a 30-year resident of District 5, and I am a proud volunteer at the North Redondo Beach Business Association and serving as the president. We are so grateful to the entire city, the council, and Mayor Light for your support of SpringFest. We had a great program this year. I just wanted to give you some of the highlights. Our attendance and ridership was up 25% this year. We had all 14 Redondo Beach Unified School District schools involved in the program. They were selling tickets and they were earning funds for their schools, as well as we had school entrepreneurs participate in our marketplace. We had over 30 businesses in the marketplace, including some nonprofits like Waterfront Education and Aunt Hattie's Aloha Foundation. We had 9 food trucks and stands. And we had 34 students sign up for the first ever South Bay's Got Talent. So we had a huge talent contest, and we featured a casting producer from America's Got Talent, and a few of the students were even signed with agents during the event. We had local bands and performing groups throughout the entire weekend, including Dance One, the Redondo Union High School Salsa Club, and local bands and professionals like Barley, Jeremy Buck, and Dick the Citizen, who brought great crowds. The Beer, Wine, and Spirits Garden this year had double the attendance, and we also hosted the Redondo Chamber Mixer on Thursday night, which was a lot of fun. It's also an opportunity for some of our nonprofits to raise funds and awareness, including Keep the Esplanade Beautiful, Rotary, Kiwanis, Angel City Corral, and the Hollywood Riviera Sportsman Club. Best of all, we had 100 volunteers that helped to make it all happen, and it's a true community event. We were also honored to have some very special MCs on stage. We had Councilmember Barrett was there, and Council Members Waller and Castle. I think it was almost maybe one of their very first public speaking events because it was right after the election. So next up, I wanted to let you know that we are having Dine Around Artesia coming up, and we're actually expanding the event. The past 2 years were sold out, and the only complaint we had was that there was too much food. So we are expanding it to 2 nights, and we'll have East and West Artesia. The dates will be Wednesday, August 13th, and Wednesday, September 10th. And we're expanding it to include non-food businesses that will host artists as well, local artists. So thank you so much for your support. We couldn't do it without you.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Mickey, can you clarify those dates one more time?
August 13th and September 10th.
Okay, Desiree Gillespie. Can we get a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Second.
All 4?
Aye.
Hi there, Desiree Galassi, District 4, resident of Redondo Beach, proud resident. You heard from Mickey. Angel City Corral volunteered at Springfest. I am actually here from Angel City Corral, and I just want to tell you about our show that we have coming up on May 25th at the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center. You know, music has an incredible power to unify us, to make us feel good, to give us hope, and this concert is all about hope. Imagine songs from Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, John Legend, Carly Simon, sung by 150 professionally trained voices. What we're going to bring you that afternoon is going to be something else. But it's not just all about our songs. We are opening up our lobby to some great organizations, volunteer organizations who are looking for outreach organizations who are looking for volunteers. You know them, some of them you know pretty well, like the South Bay Parkland Conservancy. And in particular, I want to talk to you about a young man by the name of Robbie Sherwood. He is a Redondo Beach resident. He is 11 years old, and he has created a sports drink that has won all kinds of awards. And since we're going to be selling concessions anyway at our event, I thought it would be a great idea to include Robbie's drink as part of our concessions, and we're going to give him a little bit of a spotlight. He's going to have a taste.
Good evening, Georgette Gantner, District 2. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. I'd like to bring up something that might be a little awkward. It shouldn't be, but, well, it will be. I'd like to know what the procedure is with the city. When I call people, some answer, some don't, and I leave messages, more often than not, they don't get back to me. And I'm sorry, Mayor, I have to ask you, what is your procedure? If I have tried 6 times, phone calls, emails, and I even came into the city clerk's office and left, they put notes on your desk. Just wondering, what is the procedure if I want to talk to you about something? I mean, are you available? I mean, I know you're busy. We're all busy. I know you're really busy, very busy. But I just want to know what the procedure is. And if I reach out to you, is it best by phone or email? I know we can't have a discourse, but at this point, but I just wondered, what that procedure might be so that if I do have questions for you and if you have time, or you just want to get back to me in an email, if that's possible. Email is better? Phone?
I'll
Just
get
not.
back with you.
Okay, thank you.
Not supposed to get into discourse up here. Anyone else wish to address the city council at this point?
Hello, this is Andy Porchop. I came here 41 years ago. I just throw this in for a trivia. I try to stay alive so I can collect more social security. And I'm doing my health exercise out at the Esplanade and the beach. And since you are so busy, I don't know if you're aware of the fact there is a group called themselves South Bay Parkland Conservancy or something like that. I don't know what their objection there, but in my opinion, they're doing an excellent job. If that's creating dust, sand, and erosion. So like a group of 6 people, I noticed they are weeding right now. And the plants that are growing naturally, they're pulling it out, and the plants what died out, what they planted, they're putting new flags. So when I walk on the bike path, all I see is dead plants and banners. Now they have big banners, South Bay Parkland, whatever. And I don't know if I want to look at that every time I go to the beach, by the way. So anyway, I see big damage on the bluff. So I don't know if that's the objective, So even what is growing, they're pulling it out. When I moved in here, they had ivy. It was nothing wrong with it, It protected the bluff. The rainstorm and the rain went down. Now we have nothing but erosion. So anyway, let's talk about some good news. My city, Torrance, is building the pickleball courses. And pretty soon, probably 3, 4, 5 years, it depends, You guys are all welcome to play pickleball, I invite you to come and play pickleball. So they started at $1.2 million. Now they're up to 1.6, so probably $2.5 million. Also, Torrance is going to have a memorial for the Japanese internment people, remembering. So they're going to build a wall. They started out with like $4 million government donation, but did not arrive yet, but it's already costing $10 million. So every Redondo Beach citizen can donate, or especially the Japanese citizens, donate so we can have that wall as soon as possible, remembering the interned Japanese citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council at this time? Your time's up.
He forgot.
I know, sir. I
Oh,
forgot
okay.
mine.
Anyone online?
There are no hands raised on Zoom, and there are no e-comments.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have no hearings tonight, so the next item is N1. That's discussion and possible action regarding the Artesia Boulevard Corridor Public Art Project.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Elizabeth House, a Community Services Director. Madam Clerk, we have a oh, wonderful. So tonight we are presenting to you the staff recommended consultant for the launching of the Artesia Public Art Project. That is La Basse Project. They're with us tonight. We have them in the audience and they'll introduce themselves later on in our presentation. With me tonight also have Jack Meyer, our Cultural Arts Manager. And so what we did in our report and what we're going to do tonight in our presentation is give you a brief background on how we got to where we are today. Talk about the commission, the Public Art Commission's involvement, their feedback to us, their comments, and where they came into this process. And then more excitingly, we're going to present to you what the next steps are and how our community engagement is going to look like. And after that, we will go ahead and have the LaBasse team introduce themselves and show you what they've done in other cities. So with that, I will hand it over to Mr. Meyer.
Good evening. So for most of my nearly 4 decades here, there has been a variety of attempts to beautify, revitalize the Artesia corridor. And in December of 2020, the council formalized a plan, the Artesian Aviation Area Corridor Area Plan. And that specific section of the Artesia corridor is what we're discussing tonight. That runs from the train crossing slightly east of Inglewood to the border with Manhattan Beach on Aviation Boulevard. The goal of that, a large section of that plan was involved in what they call placemaking, the idea of making an actual identity for the place that would be something, not just a transit corridor that you would drive through, but you would get out of the car, you would stop, you would visit, you might socialize, commune. That requires activity nodes, things that make it a target for pedestrian activation. So a large part of that was emphasized in the plan is activated by public art. And so public art is the discussion. We are looking at creating a get out of the car zone activated by public art. So as I said, the AACAP was adopted in 2020. In 2023, it was adopted into the strategic plan as an objective. In January of 2024, $400,000 initially was allocated from the John Parsons Public Art Fund and then increased by another $50,000. So there's a $450,000 allocation for this project of acquiring public art. The allocation also included the retention of a public art consultant to guide and steer this process. This is a lot of moving parts. The city staff doesn't really have the expertise or the bandwidth to run it all, and so a consultant is required. A RFQ was crafted with the Public Arts Commission across 3 separate meetings and finally approved in May. Then it was published on a public art website called Cafe, and that was closed on August 30th. At that time, we had 9 submissions that were reviewed by the Public Arts Commission, who declared that they were quite impressed with the quality and depth of the applicants, and that they were pleased. And then they basically decided that it would be best if staff were to do the evaluation and examination of the applicants, select some finalists, and finally present to the council as we are tonight. That process was a collaboration between public arts, economic and waterfront development, and also community services and cultural arts. Those were evaluated initially and winnowed down to 3 finalists. And in November, they were interviewed. They were given a chance to do a little presentation. And it was pretty much everybody agreed that for our purposes, that LaBasse Projects was the best suited for this particular job.
LaBasse Projects?
LaBasse Projects, yes. So we got this as LBP. The reasons were primarily their depth of experience, their technical expertise, their a variety of other reasons, but most importantly is their emphasis on collaboration, their willingness and want to understand the contextual, the context of the city, of the location, understand the community and the culture. So there were 4 key elements that were assigned in their proposal and that will be in the contract. And these are defined as tasks. The first one would be a review of the existing conditions, site locations, an inventory of our current public art inventory, because we have not been idle all these years. There has been public art, and we want to make sure that it is included in the discussion, coordinated, so nothing looks like it was an afterthought. Then there was the visioning and engagement, probably the most important thing. That's the collaborative process. There will be workshops, public stakeholders, and so forth. Followed by an artist selection. There'll be a call for artists, and that will be reviewed by both a consultant and a convened community panel, so that the city residents and so forth, the people who make it onto the panel, will actually represent on this art selection. And then finally, the installation process all the way through dedication. So not walking away with, here you go. This is going to see to it that it happens. Collaboration, we consider the most important phase of this, because without it, it's not really a community project. It's somebody telling somebody else what they're going to have in their neighborhood. So this is all about transparency. This is about inclusion, diversity, ending up with art that resonates with our community. So there will be workshops that take into account the NRBBA, business owners, residents, other stakeholders, elected officials, and appointed advisory boards. A lot of this will be in direct collaboration with the Cultural Arts Commission, which is the renamed and slightly expanded Public Art Commission. So that is basically our selection is LaBasse projects.
Yeah, and just to go back to a few slides ago, just to talk the council through this timeline. The staff, when we were directed to go ahead and whittle down that group of very strong candidates from 9 to 3 and then to 1, we did have several departments represented on our panel, including Public Works, because this art is going to public spaces, and we want to make sure we're not building things on top of easements or pipes or things like that. We want to make sure we have the right infrastructure in place. We want to make sure we had that perspective on the panel. We also included Mr. Kapovich from the Waterfront and Economic Development Department, because again, this was all started with the ACAP, which is focusing on enhancing, improving, and supplementing economic development along Artesia Boulevard. And we did have our cultural arts manager at the time, as well as myself on this panel. So we went from 9 to 3, and of those 3, they provided very lengthy presentations. You'll see a little bit of it tonight when we introduce the LaBasse team, but all very strong candidates. We were spoiled for choice. But LaBasse, at the end of the day, like Jack said, the collaborative part is the most important when it comes to a project as big as this. It's a very momentous project when it comes to public art, so we're very proud to present LaBasse as our recommended consultant. And so with that, I would like to go ahead and just introduce you to this slide. Our recommendation is that you approve the agreement with LaBasse. It's a 3-year contract. We ask that there be a minimum of 3 art installations, as well as a plan for installations after that. The compensation is not to exceed $45,000, which means we have $405,000 remaining for the procurement and installation of art. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Bo Bass and Kim Luangraj of LaBasse Projects. They're going to introduce themselves, and then we'll go through a few slides of things they've worked on already.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Council members, Mayor, my name is Bo Bass. I'm the principal at LaBasse Projects. This is Kim Luangraj, my VP of Operations. And we're really excited to hopefully get this project started soon. And I was going to share a little bit of background about what we do as a firm, what we share some projects we've done in the past to sort of track with what we hopefully will do here in Redondo Beach. To give a little background, we are a public art consulting firm. That is all we do. We don't sell paintings. We don't represent artists. We only focus pretty much on large-scale, permanent, and sometimes temporary public artwork. We work for a lot of large developers. We work for quite a few cities, several here in Southern California. We were also working on projects globally. We have a small team here in Los Angeles, and I can show you some of the projects. Right now, we're working on a similarly scaled project, a little bit different, but we're working for the city of Glendale. We're managing nearly $3 million in public art funds to oversee 10 installations across the city of Glendale. There are some redeveloping neighborhoods in Glendale where we're working on art. And this has been a great project for us, and I think very similar, and we talked a lot about the collaborative approach. It's not our job to come in and just say, this is the kind of artwork we're going to deliver. We spent 6 months working with businesses, local stakeholders, city council, arts commission, to really canvass and get an understanding of, like, we needed to know what the communities were like within the different districts in Glendale. You know, there's each neighborhood has a different vibe and feel. There's sort of like Brand Boulevard, where you've got the mall, you've got you know, the neighborhoods, the different community parks. We also work with Parks and Recreation. We work with Public Works to determine, you know, again, if we're going to install something on a median, what's underneath. So we take all of those things into account in our assessment. We spend a lot of time working with community groups, and there's always, we've worked in a lot of communities, there's always some louder voices, and we want to make sure those are the voices that we spend time talking with, that feel heard, and that when we're coming for approvals, that we want those people in here championing our concepts, you know, when we're coming back. So that's really the first step. And in Glendale, this is just a couple of slides where we did an assessment of all of the current artwork in the city and public artwork, where we thought we could strategically activate spaces, and how that all worked in the map altogether. And then there was a whole nother section of all the different community groups and civic stakeholders that we spoke with and shared these sort of ideas with, so that when we came back for approval on strategic plan, we had people from the community sort of championing those strategic plans. I think we can kind of keep going and flipping through. Again, this is just sort of some renderings of things that will be coming to Glendale. Some of these are larger, and we're doing some smaller scale. The goal for Glendale, and I think a lot of our, you know, our intended goals, we dig into the Artesia Aviation Plan, is to have a sense of scale. We want artworks that are sort of landmarks. We also want things that are more of a human scale. So as people are going into restaurants and retail establishments, that there are things that people can see and touch. As we get into a couple of further slides, we delivered a series of artist-designed benches for LA County. We did 39 benches across 9 county parks, designed by some LA artists. So we want things at different scale, and that's when we get into the strategic planning, which we haven't started yet. That's how we try to approach things, is looking at artwork that really enhances the placemaking in the community. We kind of keep going. These are some renderings and some things that we're planning on some of the medians in Glendale. Some of these concepts are moving forward, some are not, but just sharing some of the, when we presented to the team in our interview process, they had us share very detailed of, like, what does your plan look like? And so these sort of some images that came out of that. Again, so you can sort of see the scale and the kind of concepts that we want to really be landmarks for the community, but also things that people can see, touch, and actually engage with. You can kind of keep flipping through those. You know, in terms of scale of projects, Glendale's a fairly sizable one. We're actually in the middle of planning all the public art for an enormous project in Aba in Saudi Arabia. We're working with the landscape design teams as they're re-envisioning 5 districts across city in the high mountains of Saudi Arabia. And again, just different scales. We've worked with City of Beverly Hills. This is an example of a mural. There was a joint project with Beverly Hills and Los Angeles Metro. This is actually a temporary wall that's closing off Cannon Boulevard. This is a great example of the collaborative nature. This is a wall that's temporary, but it's a 10-year temporary. Well, Metro sort of rebuilds through Beverly Hills. We spent time talking with some really major hotel groups, civic stakeholders, and businesses that have been right there on Cannon for decades, and we're really opposed to having a wall closing off their street. Now that this mural's gone in, they've actually put outdoor seating and they've closed off the street, and this mural has become the backdrop of a really vibrant cul-de-sac, where at the very beginning, there was so much opposition to even putting anything there. But we spent a year working with those stakeholders, working with City Council, working with the Beverly Hills Arts Commission to really like not just pick an artist, but pick something that everybody felt good about. And some of the most vocal opponents were there championing the final concepts before we got approved. So a lot of work, but these are the benches that just got delivered. We're really excited about. This was a grant that was funded for, it was for art that had to be functional for the park. So we went through different iterations working with Parks and Rec. Was there gonna be trash cans? Was there gonna be, it's dividing walls? And we ended up settling on benches. And we commissioned an LA-based studio to design these sort of LA benches. There's a rendering down the bottom corner, but the one right in front, I mean, they're these great sculptural benches. They're actually functional. They cast this LA shadow. When we were installing these, this just got installed like 2 months ago, February? When we were installing these, we had kids trying to climb on these things while the guys were there with the cranes installing these things. So immediately successful. But again, artwork, but it's functional. It's things that people can actually put their hands on and engage with. Again, private developer project, mosaic tile installation along the stairwell. That's sort of like a seating area. Just sharing some of the scale. We work with a huge master plan home community in Irvine, creating public art across their communities, everything from shade structures to hands-on active artwork, murals. So yeah, we've been fortunate that we've gotten our hands on a lot of really fun projects. City West Hollywood commissioned us to help redesign their free public bus system. And so they had these sort of boring white buses, and we commissioned artists to wrap and design the City Line buses. So now they have 5 of these buses driving through West Hollywood as their free sort of public transportation system, and they're bright, they're colorful. They're buses you actually want to get on versus sort of these boring white buses. Again, a project we did with ACLU. I'm speaking really fast, I feel like, but
There's a lot of slides.
Yeah, you have your work on your website. I think we've all looked at it, or at least I have, and it's phenomenal. So if we could get to some questions, if that's all right with you.
Please. Sorry
to interrupt.
Yeah.
So one difference between Artesia Boulevard and a lot of the places that you described here is very narrow sidewalks and not a lot of open space. So have you been able to walk or drive down Artesia Boulevard in the ACAP area? And have you identified, what kind of art you think you'd be suggesting for the area?
We have. To be totally honest, we have not gotten into a full strategic deep dive yet. We've still been in contract phases, and we have spent some time in the area. We've talked with economic development about some of the goals. We've gone through the ACAP plan. There are definitely some points in that plan that outline potential areas and gateways for public art. But those are the kind of things we'll assess once we really dive into our strategic planning process. And that process includes, I think it's so important for us to we'll be going into businesses and asking both employees, business owners, how are people using the sidewalk? How do you see, how do people use your space? So I would imagine it's a combination of everything from murals. I know we were envisioning potentially some large gateway pieces on the ends. I could definitely see, and I think some sort of benches and sort of smaller active engaging pieces, things that people can see and touch and sort of play with, for lack of a better word, as they're, but yeah, we haven't gotten into that deep dive yet.
All right. I wanted to commend staff, Elizabeth and Jack. I see in the staff report, this went to the Cultural Arts Commission. They couldn't agree on exactly who to choose. They sent it back to staff. Staff set up a panel, including, Public Works and Waterfront Economic Development, and reviewed and scored objectively these different applicants, and ultimately chose LaBasse. And yeah, your work seems pretty strong. What I'll say is this, is if, I assume council will move forward, there's Mickey Johnson right there. She's like the president of the North Redondo Beach Business Association. Everything good that comes up in North Redondo more or less emanates from her. So she'd be a great person to get in contact with. We also have Grub House is going to be starting construction soon, hopefully on Artesia and McKay. They'd be a good person to be in contact with, investing about $3 to $5 million in that project. They're major construction, to understand what they'd like to see as well. What I also wanted to ask staff or the city manager is, when we initially talked about art in Artesia, we thought, I forget who opined this, but it would take about $1 million in public art. Seeing the figures in Glendale, $3 million, but $1 million in public art to really make an impression. Do we think that we're going to be able to add in this budget additional money to the Artesia art from the John Parsons Fund?
Not from the John Parsons Fund this year. We're fully subscribed in the fund currently. We will have some opportunity, hopefully, over the next 2 years with the fund to see some revenue and increased growth to help further support these efforts. Always, the other discretionary sources are available to us for consideration. But until we get going, that's, I think, the beauty of this plan. We've got a couple of installations as part of it, and then we'll have a plan for more as we fund more. And I do believe in the future we'll have that opportunity.
Okay, and that's what end plan refers to here.
Yes.
Planning for future stuff.
Our scope, as I understand it, is we will be planning both for that initial $400,000 budget and how to strategically, maximize those dollars, but also to be a little more forward-looking, not just, for a potential phase B, phase C, so we'll be looking at this as how can we not just deliver just this first stage, but potentially how we can layer on that into the future.
Awesome. Cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you put up the phases slide?
The tasks?
How long do you foresee each of these tasks taking?
I think we put together a timeline that we shared with staff. I can't remember the exact sort of timeline. That is that first existing conditions assessment for us to build our real strategic plan. I'm imagining 3 to 4 months. And that's a strategic assessment of what's existing, not just in the Artesia plan, but what's existing through the city of Redondo. Who are the business stakeholders we want to talk to? Who are the community organizations? This is our target list if we want to start speaking to. That's sort of task 2 of visioning and engagement. For us, it's really our strategic plan and building out a really strong plan. That's going to be a couple more months because, again, it's every community group we talk to, every stakeholder we talk to, there's always, Councilmember Obaji suggests talk to somebody, then that person suggests talk to somebody else. And we try to really not leave any stone unturned because it's not just whether we're going to get good advice or good feedback or good recommendation. It's just that when we're coming back, we want to make sure that everyone feels like they've been heard, or even if they're not interested, that we've spoken to them. And so they can say oh yeah, we talked to those guys, but we didn't really have any feedback from them. We like the work they're doing. We want to really put the time into that so that once we have that concrete plan, that strategy of these are the 6 locations, these are how we're going to allocate the budgets, these are the typologies for each of those locations. This is the methodology we're going to take to select artists, whether they're local, whether they're regional, whether they're international, so that we're really once we start going, we have a document we can refer back to that has been vetted, the council's approved, arts commission's approved, and then that stakeholders have looked at and seen. So artist selection, generally another 2-3 months. And again, sometimes in our experience with cities, we can move faster than sometimes, then Arts Commission approval, then City Council approval. So a lot of times it's, we get calls from developers, we need artwork delivered in a plan in 3 weeks. So we can work as quickly or slowly as needed. But yeah, again, even the different installations, those will be timed with any construction, with changes. So, we're looking at this as a several-year process.
So
come up with the whole strategy and plan before we do any art.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not just plopping one thing down. Whatever's on one end has to sort of work, ideally works in conjunction with everything else that's happening. So if we have one gateway piece, not that it's saying that they have to look the same or be painted the same or from the same artist, but ideally, again, it's like designing a landscape for a neighborhood or architecture for a campus. You want things to sort of work together. So there's a lot of strategic planning goes into how are these things going to work, if we're going to spend $400,000, we want to spend it effectively. We don't want to just like, oh, we'll just do that. That's 200. This is
Okay,
50, right?
I
So
understand.
it's.
And then Elizabeth or Jack, so they come up with a strategic plan and they draft the RFP?
Yes.
And who approves it? Do they approve it? And I mean, do they have sole?
No, we will be working collaboratively with the Cultural Arts Commission throughout the entire process. So they will draft the RFP or call for artists. We will then review it as staff and present it to the commission for final approval and release. So we will just need to
It
help
won't come
them.
back to council, it's just,
That's not the current plan, but is that something that the
I don't know,
council?
I'm just
Well,
asking right
the
now.
artist agreements, the eventual art agreements for installation will come back to city
Yes.
council for approval on an individual basis. We will bring back the strategic plan to council for certainly for review as it's finalized. I think that's called for by the end of the calendar
I'm not
year.
asking for micromanagement,
No,
I'm
no.
asking what's the plan?
Yeah, no, you'll see the full
And then the council
plan.
can weigh in on that. but
Yeah, you'll see the full plan when it's
I
drafted.
think we can be overly burdensome with all the different, because everybody's an art critic, right?
Right, and that's why we have the Cultural Arts Commission to help assist with that critiquing. And that's why we brought in the experts to assist staff. So you'll see the final plan, and then ultimately you'll see the final proposed art agreements.
And do you represent the city on the final installation, or is?
Support the installation, I believe, is the concept.
Yeah, they support us.
like
So
an
we'll be
owner's rep.
collaborating with our public works team, our
Program
team.
manager.
Yeah, we see ourselves as like the producers. Like, so we will, again, the city will hold contracts with the artists, but it's our task to make sure artists are staying on budget, delivering on time, making sure they have everything engineered properly.
And there was an option for more, was that a cumulative 550, or is that 550 more?
550 more on top of the 450, which.
So another
speaks-
55,000, 10% for them, and then the rest for the art.
Correct.
And when do we exercise that? At any point?
Well, currently we have 450 allocated from the
No, I
John Parsons
understand,
Art Fund. As the city manager said, right now we can't allocate more. So as soon as more monies become available, the council has the ability to allocate more money towards the project.
My question was more, do we wait till we get through task 4 on the first 450?
I think-
And then we allocate more? Can
Well,
we
as
somewhere in the
we-
middle if we get?
My suggestion would be, we would want to at least have gotten to the point where we've encumbered the full $405,000 for project installation. And I'm guessing, based on the timing and looking at the contract, that we'll likely be discussing potentially providing additional funds as part of the 26-27 fiscal year proposed budget, which is about when we should have a pretty good sense of what the artist agreement costs and installation numbers look like.
And when you look at your strategic plan, do you keep in mind that there may be up to $550,000 more so that you're planning for the bigger one? Or do you just do what's in the?
No, our scope includes sort of a phase A. I don't know what it's going to be technically titled, but sort of like in our a phase A, which is what's allocated right now, a potential phase B of that additional 500, and then honestly, even a potential phase C looking even forward.
No, I understand, but when you come up with that visioning and engagement at the end of task 2 and you come up with the strategy, is that built just to the $405,000?
No, the strategy will be 400, phase A, phase B, and our strategy will include like.
So the strategy up front will say phase A,
Yes.
phase B. Okay, that's what I was.
Sorry.
Okay, thanks. Let's see, anyone else have questions? Councilmember Barrett.
Thank you, Mayor. When will the council have an opportunity to weigh in on proposed locations for art installations?
I think that's when we come back with the strategic plan, so you see where the proposed locations are, and you can provide your feedback at that time. And listen to the feedback we received from the community as well to see why those locations were selected. So it'll give you an opportunity to see all the work they've done to date and why that strategic plan has identified those spaces for art.
Okay, and it would be at that time that city council would have an opportunity to make a decision as to whether they want to approve those locations? And so there'll be a number of locations to choose from?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, you can sit down, thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Would any member of the public wish to address the council at this time?
We have a card.
Oh, we have a card. Mickey Johnson.
Thank you. I am just here to support the program and to let you know that we're here to help you. And our BBA is very excited about beautifying Artesia Boulevard and the area. So you have our full support.
Plus, you're the only one that makes things happen up there, it sounds like. Anyone else from the public wish to address the city council on this item?
Hello, this is Andy Porchop again. I support the art, I don't know if you know, I'm an artist also. I'm not a great singer because when I sing, the room goes empty. But I like art. My daughter is a great artist, so if you need any artwork done, we are here. It was great presentation. I also learned a good phrase, pedestrian activation. Anyway, this is just for me to learn. Anyway, I'm for this project, and when these people, I think this is for bringing in more business and people, I think, but besides the art installation and the pedestrian activation, one bad thing I want to tell you, this Artesia Boulevard is very close to the Galleria. I don't know if I pronounce it right, So, and that place has parking, plenty of parking, not like the malls going very good nowadays. But my suggestion would be a bus that goes around, on Artesia Boulevard, Hawthorne Boulevard, hitting the mall and the Redondo Beach Art and Performing Center. So that would be bringing in more people with money. Anyway, so great project. I like arts, murals, paintings. I have paintbrush, I have paint, I have sledgehammer. So any art I can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council on this item? Anyone online?
There are no hands raised on Zoom and there are no e-comments.
All right, make motion to approve an agreement with LBP Consulting for consulting services, develop a comprehensive public art placekeeping plan for the management and installation of public art projects along Artesia Boulevard for an amount not to exceed $45,000.
No second. Okay, motion and a second. All for?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Thanks for the great presentation and all the work. Look forward to seeing the art. Okay, let's see, any city manager items?
Yeah, just a couple this evening, Mayor. As you know, we're nearing our normal budget delivery date, which is May 16th under our charter requirements. So you will have the proposed 25-26 fiscal year budget at the end of this week. You will have a receive and file presentation, a brief introduction of the budget as part of your May 20th City Council meeting. That will not be an opportunity to really have constructive dialogue on it, just really provide a download on where we're at. Then we will embark on our 3 consecutive hearings, June 3rd, I believe it is, June 10th, and then June 17th for formal hearing deliberation. That's also when we will initiate and begin to deposit for you our various budget response reports. So your first batch of budget response reports will be part of your June 3rd agenda packet. That's not something to expect for May 20th, but rather the first hearing discussion on June 3rd. For those who are curious about our fiscal transparency, all of our annual comprehensive financial reports are found on our Financial Services Department webpage. All of our completed ACFRs are there. Our budget documents are in the both on the city's main homepage where you see budget and capital improvement program. You can also access those through the Financial Services Department website. So for those who are interested, those documents are all posted there. That's all I have.
Okay, now we're going to add 300 BRRs. Just kidding. Just kidding.
That may be
Okay,
June 26.
let's see, referrals to staff.
I have none.
I have none.
I have a BRR.
I was joking, come on.
It's just one, but a BRR for a sensory room as a potential addition to our library. I did speak with Director Vinke on this, and I can give more details on that.
What kind of room?
A sensory room.
Sensory,
Yes, it's, yes.
not century.
Nope. Not Century Room. Nope.
Okay.
Yes, Dana did give me a heads up on that, so I think we understand what that means and we can provide that.
Thank you.
Councilmember Obaji?
All right, so I'd like to make a referral that we, and maybe this comes back, well, this could be a strategic planning item, but it's something we need to address, is doing what we did with regard to smoke shops, limiting the number, potentially an urgency ordinance to impose a moratorium on liquor shops, takeout liquor shops, and other shops that are potentially undesirable when you're trying to develop economically in a particular area. So what our options could be.
May I
Yes.
offer a friendly amendment maybe to this?
Yes, absolutely.
That discussion would happen after we get through
Yes,
what we're
yes,
doing with the
it's
smoke
not- yeah,
shops and the
right.
tobacco.
This
like
isn't,
one thing at a time.
Yeah, this isn't super urgent. It's something that I think we need to visit the conditions that are required to be met for a CUP for a liquor shop.
Yeah, we can introduce this as part of our broader regulatory framework conversation. One of the things the council's made clear is looking at identifying preferred business uses in the regulatory framework associated with the permitting for those functions. Clearly with the council's recent direction as it pertains to smoke shops and some other perhaps tobacco-related concepts, we can also look at creating additional regulatory framework for those businesses that we think are perhaps at a saturation point in the community or create other unintended consequences. So I think we can bring this concept to you fairly soon, but in due time, meaning general plan phase 2, smoke shop ordinance, et cetera. We've got a lot to do, including, in fact, on that front, an ordinance on sign maintenance standards on Artesia is also something that we're working on as part of that conversation.
Yeah,
So
I will second that, but can I just clarify, is that something that would come back when we discuss the broader, not general plan, but as we're assigning conditions to certain businesses, like, administrative review or CUP, like that could be just looped into that, and then we can decide if we're going to discuss it separately.
That's the idea.
Okay.
That's the kind of triaging that we want to do in our Muni code is what businesses require CUP, a more formal construct, what businesses perhaps might be more of a by right type use that would have administrative permit. So I think that's where we would resolve those issues.
Perfect, yes, so I second that.
Motion and a second, all for?
Aye.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Councilmember Barrett?
None.
And none for me. Let's see, could I get a motion to recess back to closed session?
So move.
Second.
All for?
Aye.
Okay. So we're wrapped up for this part tonight, but we will come back and report out on any actions that are reportable after we are done with the closed session this evening.
Mayor, I believe I have to read them all again.
I'm sorry?
I believe I have to read the R5 through R13, yes.
Sorry, we're way past that. Go ahead.
Yeah. As authorized by the government code on the listed agenda, the following items will be discussed in closed session. Items R5 through R13 are under the title Conference with Legal Counsel Existing Litigation. Item R5, the name of the case is City of Redondo Beach et al. Versus California State Water Resources Control Board. Case number 20-STC-P03193. Item F6, the name of the case is in regards to 9300 Wilshire LLC. Bankruptcy, CDCal case number 223-BK-10918-ER. Item R7, the name of the case is 9300 Wilshire LLC, City of Redondo Beach, City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, City of Redondo Beach Department of Community Development, and those 1 through 100 inclusive, case number 23-STC-P02189. Item R8, the name of the case is in regards to 9300 Wilshire LLC, 9300 Wilshire LLC et al. Versus AES Redondo Beach LLC, bankruptcy, CDCal case number 223-AP-01163-ER. Item R9, the name of the case is Yes in My Backyard, a California nonprofit corporation, Sandra Trouse, an individual, versus City of Redondo Beach, City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, City of Redondo Beach Department of Community Development, and those 1 through 25 inclusive, case number 23-TRC-P00325. Item R10, the name of the case is New Commune DTLA LLC, versus City of Redondo Beach, City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, and those 1 through 100 inclusive, case number 23 STC B10146. For item R11, the name of the case is New Community TLA LLC and Leonid Postonikov versus City of Redondo Beach and City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, case number 22 TRC P00203. For item R12, the name of the case is New Community TLA LLC versus City of Redondo Beach, City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, City of Redondo Beach Department of Community Development et al., case number 23 STC P00426. And for item R13, the name of the case is AES Southland Development LLC and AES Redondo Beach LLC versus California Coastal Commission, case number BS 157789. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And City Manager, who will be speaking to these?
Myself, City Attorney Joy Ford, and I believe Assistant City Attorney Cheryl Park.
Okay, we are recessing back to closed session.
Selfies up here.
From closed session. City Manager, do we have anything to report?
No reportable actions this evening, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'll do the roll call. Councilmember Waller.
Present.
Councilmember Castle. Here. Councilmember Kalajerovich. Here. Councilmember Obaji.
Here.
Councilmember Barrett. Mayor Light. Here. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I
Second.
get a second? Motion a second, all for?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned to our next session on Tuesday, May 20th.
If you put it in the bin.
Take it.
2 hours.